I thought your relationship was fantastic, you two. It it felt really real. I mean, I could feel that you had been together for 5 years or whatever it was, and gone through the ups and downs, and of one of you being uh, like you are, and the other one being like you are completely different, and feel how it would work in the company that you were going ahead with. I just thought you got that brilliantly, absolutely marvelously. But and and you were going to do this on stage, weren't you?
We were going to film it, right, Stephen?
At the Torrance Public Broadcasting. Yes. But then COVID-19 changed our plans.
Yeah.
So it seemed to me that you were pretty much off book, which is that right? So you'd already learned the lines.
Oh yeah, yeah. We'd been rehearsing kind of like through Zoom and stuff beforehand. So yeah, we were ready to go.
Well, it was interesting because it gave you a lot of freedom, I think, didn't it? Especially you, Chris, to kind of wander around because you weren't stuck with the script, which is when we're doing these Zoom things. Most people are kind of, they got the script there and relying on it. And I felt a freedom from you as well. You were able to move around, and also, Roger, it felt to me as if you were able to make more of the character because you weren't so stuck on the words in that sort of way.
Well, it all starts with a script. We had a great script, and the advantage. Me and Chris weren't strangers. We didn't meet that day. We have a bit of a history,
right.
And that shows. Either you have chemistry or you don't. And I remember, Stephen, you were gonna cast George originally to play.
Yes.
And George is more closer to my age. And when he said, "Well, I'm gonna cast Chris Markle," I go, "Well, he's a very talented young actor, but he's very young." And then I started thinking, well,
thanks.
I started thinking, well, if I think in terms of I'm being a mentor and he's the whiz kid, then it really seemed to work. And it really seemed to groove, so to speak. And Stefan did a couple of dialogue changes, and it felt very natural to be with a guy that much younger than me. It was. I guess you could say the relationship was living within us, so to speak.
Yeah.
So and it was just minor changes that needed to be done to kind of fix it for Chris' character. So, and a lot of that came from Roger. Roger just talking about the rehearsals, and he during his rehearsal he kept thinking of the Wayne character in a certain way, but the script wasn't really written for that. And so when he made these suggestions, I said, "Sure, let's change it."
So where did where did the idea come from in the first place, Stephen, for this one?
This is one of the scripts that I know where it came from. This came from when I was on set of The French Cowboy. And I was working with another. What's that?
Being an actor?
Yes. And I was working with another actor, and we found that we just had a lot of time on our hands while we were waiting for things to happen. And he had talked about the reason he had gotten into the film The French Cowboys because he always wanted to do a Western. And we started talking about, we could do one too if we wanted to, a short one, because we were on this ranch and we were talking about possibly coming back to the ranch to do a Western. And when we found out how much they charged to rent the ranch, I said, well, they could be cowboys, but it doesn't have to be a period piece. It could be contemporary. He said, yeah, I guess we could do that. And then I said, well, what if they're both these executive type people and one of them is now going through like a midlife crisis or something and has decided to become a cowboy. The other guy has to kind of convince them. And he liked that idea. So the next day when we were on set, again, there was a lot of downtime, and I just started writing it. And he would kind of walk by me and he goes, "You're writing that script, aren't you?" And I said, "Yeah." I mean, and before we were ready to shoot, I had it, at least the first draft of it written, and I showed it to him, and he said, "Yeah, let's do it." But he and I never got to do it. So then when I heard about the public access, I said, "Okay, well, this is an opportunity to do it." And then that didn't happen, and then we got another chance here with the Zoom. So finally, it got done.
And it happened. So it seemed like a great deal of fun to play. You enjoyed it.
Well, a lot happens in 7 minutes, you know, and beginning, middle, and end. And the characters do have a character arc. You know, it's all there, and it comes very natural. You know, my character sort of baits Wayne, you know, into saying, "Hey, man, you've always been a cowboy. You've always been that guy." And then the carrot on the string is, "You can get Marsha back." You know, but that came quite natural. I didn't have to say, "Well, what does this mean? What does that mean?" And I didn't have to do all this deep digging. It was all there, and that's actually great writing when you don't have to be such a detective.
Well, I also have to say that what we have here is kind of departed from the original script in another way. Is when I presented it to the Torrance station and we did a read through, they liked the script, but they didn't like the ending, because the ending basically has Wayne just kind of walking away and saying, "I'm out of here and I'm done." And then Roger's character basically saying, you know, the West is never going to be the same and he's an idiot. They wanted it to be a little bit more positive. And one of the people who was part of the reading suggested that, you know, when they go out, they should go out together. When they open the door, the sun should come in, you know, like a beautiful sunset coming in. And so I said, "Okay, I'll work on the ending." And I rewrote the ending. And for me, I liked it a lot better that it ends in this more positive note.
Well, and the ending, as happened here, in fact, on the take that I used there, at the end, you improvised quite a lot, Chris and Roger, and you just kind of went into this improvisation.
We took liberties.
Yeah.
Wonderful move to turn it off, which then I could just cut to black. I mean, it was like absolutely wonderful, and it was this. Oh, I did it.
Right.
It also shows that I'm you know, I'm this stuffy corporate guy. Now I'm gonna let my hair down now. You know, I'm gonna yeehaw. You know,
Yes.
things that I would never do. He's got me doing them.
Right.
I just figured, why not? If you didn't like it, we'd just shoot it again. So
I liked it.
So I think we need another script for these characters, don't we? Is there a part two?
I think so.
we flip it. You're the flaky one this time.
Well, but you're the wild card. You're
So
young.
a completely different story or a sequence?
Well, I know maybe they've suddenly got locked down, and then what happens? So they're flopping out. So that's maybe when Roger turns into that, you know, just lazing around and not. And,
Well, that's also something I forgot, is that it got rewritten again to be done as a Zoom play, because
Yeah.
the original meeting in a cafe. And then I said, well, because Henry and I had worked on a couple of these, I kept thinking, you know, we need something that's more oriented towards this platform. And it was just like, okay, two corporate guys, they could be on the internet together. They don't have to be in the same room. It could be in different locations. And then, so it changed again. It just keeps evolving.
yes. Well, that's good. In these terms, the ending was they weren't in lockdown at that time because Wayne was about to go off to the office to the meeting. But
Right.
but if lockdown suddenly happened, their characters might get very weird.
so to speak.
I'll have to think about that one.
Anyway, thank you very much indeed. I had a lot of fun watching you
So
do.
that-
I just think it's magnificent and very, very funny. Thank you.
Oh, cheers. I mean, why did we get into this? Because we have fun, right? It's fun.
Yeah.
Sure.
What else?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well.